St. Dominic's Family by Sister Mary Jean Dorcy, Order of Preachers. Episode 4, Henry of Marburg, died 1224. Blessed Jordan was a man of great friendships. He defined true friendship and pointed out its place in the spiritual life. His dearest friend in the world was Henry of Marburg, and if Henry had no other distinction than this, it would make him of very great interest to us. Where or when Henry of Marburg was born are not a matter of exact record. He was one of the youngest of the students of arts in Paris when Master Jordan was a professor there. He must have been a young man of very attractive personality and fine character, for Jordan felt that he was the very flower of the order. When Reginald of Orleans died, Jordan had a vision in which he saw in the cloister of St. Jacques a clear and limpid fountain which ran dry. In its place a fountain sprang up, having two heads, surging up like a great river to water the whole earth. It was revealed to him that Henry of Marburg was one of the fountainheads, and the brethren easily understood that Jordan himself was the other. Jordan had at this time fully made up his mind to abandon a promising career in Paris and join the order of friars preachers, but he could not bring himself to leave his dearest friend behind. Often in later life he was to say in his sermons, "You do not go to a banquet alone, but with your dear friends. You do not go to heaven alone either." He simply could not imagine anyone going into the joy of the religious life without bringing his friends along with him. So he delayed his entrance into religion until Henry, who had not yet made up his mind, should be ready to come with him. Henry had completed his studies in arts and theology in Paris. He was handsome, reverent, and virtuous, of a mind to grasp everything, and with a rare faculty for expressing himself. Jordan began to work on him because, as he said, "I saw in him a natural disposition and a very special grace for the ministry of preaching." The day that Jordan returned from confession, the Master Reginald, shaken and exalted by the ideals that Reginald had put before him, he looked for a scripture text to confirm his resolution. Finding one, he cut the book to find a text for Henry. And scripture turned up the verse, "Let us stay together, let us never separate." He urged this on Henry, but the young man, who was chaste and obedient, found it difficult to accept poverty. Henry argued with himself, prayed and meditated, but still he was unable to accept the precept of abandoning all things for the uncertainties of a mendicant life. One night, after he had prayed a long time, he saw himself at judgment, and a thunderous voice commanded of him, "And you, what have you given up for God?" Henry was shaken by this thought and went to see Master Reginald, telling him that he had resolved to enter the order as soon as it could be arranged. On Ash Wednesday of 1220, the two friends went together to the friars' chapel to put off forever their worldly dress and don the habit of the order. To Jordan, who was a magnetic preacher himself, Henry was the model of preachers. We have, in fact, only a very idealized picture of Henry, because all we know of him is through the eyes of Jordan, who loved him so dearly. Jordan tried to imitate his style of preaching, and he felt that it was the most perfect type of preaching that he had ever heard. In 1221, when the Priory of Cologne was established, Henry was sent there as prior, and Jordan went to Lombardy. It was a sorrow to the good friends to be separated and to be left without the mutual help and inspiration that their friendship had meant to them. They wrote frequently, and what we know of those letters gives us a splendid view of a genuine friendship based on love of God and directed to the furthering of his kingdom. In 1224, when Henry could not have been more than 35 years old, he died suddenly in the arms of Jordan, who happened to be visiting in Cologne. It was a terrible grief to Jordan, and his letter concerning the death of Henry is one of the saddest and most beautiful of all his eloquent writings. He writes to Blessed Diana, in the newness of his sorrow, "Do not grieve too much about the death of your sister Ada. It is good for us to be saddened now at the same time, to go sowing our seed in tears. At the harvest we shall come carrying our sheaves in joy." Jordan confesses that he wept copiously for his friend, and after giving a beautiful account of the last moments of Henry, he adds, "There is still a long way to go. If you are tired, your Jesus was also. In all humility, in all patience, he knew how to wait."